Alrighty, hello and welcome back. This is my video today on how to journal and stick with it. So, some of you may know I've been journaling for, almost 13 years now. I have a whole collection of journals that I'm actually filling up a bookcase with. And while that may seem a little excessive to some, it's a great way to look back and reflect on memories that would otherwise be forgotten. And I get to share that history with my husband now and my son, and like all the memories of like my youth into adulthood and the transitions I've made through life. And it's really a great gift you can give yourself and your family. I actually had a near-death experience, and when I came out of that experience, one thing that was really ringing true in my mind was I was so glad that I had been memory keeping for so long, just memories with my family and my son, because if I, weren't able to be there moving forward, they at least had those memories to reflect on from me. And so I think it's a great gift you can give yourself or your family, or, you don't want to think of like, the morbid aspect of it, but it is part of it and part of the reason that this is something that can be done. And I think it's become even more special since that incident. Because of then I've actually started a journal specifically called Letters to My Son, just because we never know, life happens, things happen, and I want to always be able to give this gift to my family. So anyways, how to journal and stick with it. So I think when it comes down to it, comfort really is key. When I started out, I started with just some like spiral notebooks. I even earlier on in my journaling, I started with, this is the passport size Traveler's Company notebook. I started using these quite a bit, and as time went on, I found out that I actually wasn't super comfortable in those. My taste had changed. Well, I liked the concept of Traveler's Company and Traveler's Notebook, and I still appreciate the concept of it. It's not necessarily for me. And there's times that I will pull out my Traveler's Notebook and utilize it, on trips or, whenever the time may arise, but I don't use it real regularly, and that's okay. Part of this journey is just finding out what you're comfortable in. So what I have found to be very comfortable in is these little blank Midori, this one's the A6 size notebooks, but I actually have in here is an A5 blank Midori because I really like the blank paper. I really like the Midori paper, and it's just something that I've learned to appreciate. For a while I went through like the lined paper, the college ruled, the grid. I never really used dot grid. I knew from the get-go I just didn't like that, but I've used like the grid, and I think there comes like a lot of pressure from social media days to go towards a certain brand or a certain product because so many people are using it and they're raving about it and it's great. And I definitely fell into that with Traveler's Company. I wanted to get one. I wanted to see what it was all about, and I wanted to love it. And then, like, while I got my joy from it, I did not love it the way I thought I would. Actually, let me see. I might have one. Okay, so I thought that I had one down here, but that kind of even shows more so like I don't even have it in my day-to-day usage stuff anymore because I just have it put up for those certain occasions where I'm gonna utilize it or want it. And I feel like I wouldn't even necessarily need that brand or that exact product. I just feel kind of guilty at this point if I don't use it because it's a lot of money. The inserts are costly. So I want to be able to utilize it. And I do appreciate the craftsmanship that goes into it and the company themselves. It's just not necessarily for me. Something I did find that I like are different little covers. I found this cover locally. I put my own hole in it to put the band on it. So it is similar to a Traveler's Company system. The sizing is a little bit different, and I do have a Traveler's Company notebook in there, but moving forward, I would definitely transition to a different notebook. Probably something that's, I might use a blank Traveler's Company notebook, but I could probably find something cheaper, a little more specific to my liking, and just probably cheaper in all honesty for what it is. I like I said, I appreciate Traveler's Company, just not exactly for me. Another company I kind of fell into the trend of is Hobonichi. I have not had a Hobonichi planner yet. I've had this is my first Jibun Techo. I really, really have been enjoying this because the system works for me. I wanted to try Hobonichi. It was super popular, kind of all the rave, but I did not want to spend the money on the Weeks or the Cousin or anything like that because I knew in times past those systems weren't really effective for me, but I did like this cover. So that's something that you can do for yourself, is if you like a company, you like a brand, but you're not necessarily into the paper quality or the planner system or the journal, like the journal itself. If they sell covers, you can just invest in a cover. And I love this cover. I use it all the time. I don't plan on changing it. I'm sure I'll use it for many years to come. And you can also customize them too with little charms or putting your own favorite notebook inside. This one, I don't want to show too much because I don't know what's in there. This one has pockets on the front and in the back, and then I put the clear cover over it to kind of protect it because, like I said, I just knew that I would love this. I'm going to love it for years to come, and it's something I enjoy without necessarily using the Hobonichi notebooks themselves. So customization is something that's going to kind of come with your journal practice and experience, and you're not going to know right off the bat what you love, what you don't love. You might have an idea, you might try something, jump into it for a little while, realize you hate it, and jump right back out and into something different, and that's okay. Journaling is not something that should be a chore. It's not something that you should dread. It's not something that feels daunting and scary. It's something that, it's a craft, it's an art, it's something you should enjoy, it's memory keeping, it's whatever you want it to be. There shouldn't be pressure to journal every single day. If you journal and then 6 months later you write something else, you're still memory keeping, you're still journaling, you're still working to form that habit, even if it's not fully into swing yet. It's okay. There's not necessarily rules or like certain ways you do it. This is a hobby that can be completely individual to you, and I think that's part of why I love it. The second or third, whatever number I'm on, thing that I find really effective is finding tools and supplies you love, finding markers or highlighters or pens or pencils, whatever it is. You can try out numerous things. They have so many different pens with so many different inks and so many markers and highlighters and whatever it is you may love. But with that being said, don't feel like you have to go out and follow the trends and get these fancy fountain pens and these high-end markers and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You can start with the basics. This is, let's see here, this is just like a Bic Atlantis. I think I probably got this at like Walmart or Target or something like that, and it's one of my go-to favorites. It's because it has the grip on it, it's comfortable, it writes well, and the pens that I've actually spent more money on, funny enough, I don't use very often. I don't use often. They stay in my case. I pull them out every now and again, kind of out of the, hey, I spent money on this, I should use it type thing, like the Traveler's Notebook. And that's okay. I mean, if you get to the point that you want to spend some money on stuff and you don't end up using it, that's okay. That's part of the experience of journaling. But again, this is a needle tip inner gel pen. Again, you can find this, I think I got this one probably at Staples. A lot of what I use, especially for my Jibun Techo, is just Crayola markers as highlighters, because I found that the Sharpie S-Note, while they were really popular for a while, when I used them with the pens that I was using, actually right now I can show you. I'm using a It's the Mr. Pin, the Selah. I have found these on Amazon for like $5, $6, and it was a 12 pack, and I absolutely love them. And I use this pin and the other colors that I have in it probably more than any other pin, but they don't necessarily work with the S note. So I used a Crayola marker as an alternative, and in all honesty, it's probably saved me a lot of money because I don't have to go out and buy the super fancy, popular, stereotypical, brands that everyone's promoting and pushing. While they may work for you, sometimes they may not, and they may work for some people. They may not work for you. They may work for you, and other people may really dislike them. It's really all about finding your own style, your own rhythm in this practice. And it's not going to be typically, I mean, maybe if you're really, really lucky, the very first thing that you try will work great and you can stick with it and use it for years and years and years to come. But anyone who's been doing this for a few years now, at least, I'm sure will tell you that they started with something completely different than what they have now. I started with just these spiral, like for $1 in the back to school section notebooks, like the Mead or the 5-star notebooks. That's what I started with, and I loved them for a while, but after time I realized, hey, my ink's kind of bleeding through, or I can't customize it as well as I want because the lines are kind of in the way, and I want to put pictures and art in there, but the line, I've just found the reasons that I was wanting to lean towards something different. With that also being said, it's okay to do that. You can start in something, use it for a couple times, you can use it halfway through, 3/4 of the way through, and decide to try something different. There's no shame in changing your mind or not wanting to use something because it doesn't feel right to you. Like, this is all supposed to be about making you feel good, benefiting you, making you happy. So use what's going to do that. Use what's going to make you happy. Use the things that you enjoy. I still find that these simple little Elmer's glue sticks do the trick for almost anytime I want to put pictures or anything on my pages. I still just go to these. I have a tape runner, but I don't love that as much as I do just a simple glue stick. When journaling starts feeling like a chore, or you start feeling the pressure behind not keeping up with it, not forming a habit the very first try, not enjoying the products you're using for it, that's when you're gonna stop doing it. You're not gonna enjoy it. You're not gonna have a reason to do it anymore. So being adaptable to your changes in taste and your preferences is going to be the biggest thing that allows you to move forward in your practice. Again, you don't have to go out and spend hundreds of dollars, which is very easy to do with this hobby, and the top brands and the newest products and the nicest pens or whatever. You can start with a spiral notebook with lines if that's what you think you might enjoy. You can do that for halfway through and then switch to a sketchbook or switch to a Midori notebook like I like, or a Moleskine or Electrum or whatever it is. Just learn and be willing to adapt and change, and know that change in this hobby is okay. Change is expected almost. If you had the same style that you did when you were 13 years old, that'd probably almost be a little worrisome. You're going to change and mature and grow in your taste and your style a little bit. While you may have some of the same tastes and interests, it's probably developed as you have developed, and that's all part of it. So really just be willing to change and adapt and enjoy the things that you enjoy, and just take that pressure off of yourself. If you do it one time as a letter to yourself, as a dear diary, and you don't do it again for a year, 6 months, whatever, it's okay. It's okay. No one's going to come knocking down your door saying you're breaking the law. No one's going to think you're a bad person because you didn't immediately form a habit right away. You're trying, you're making the effort, you're doing something you enjoy, you're being artistic, you're using your creative skills, And that's what this is all about. This is a community. There's actually so many people involved in this community. I think it's like a little, social family in a way, because we've all been there, we've all experienced that, and we're all growing as people in the process. So be adaptable to your change, your tastes, your interests. Find what works for you and just take the pressure off of yourselves. And I think you're really going to find that you love this hobby. It's something you can enjoy. There's a million ways to do it, and none of them are wrong. So those are my tips on how to stick with journaling. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys every single video, liking and commenting and just supporting. Thank you so much. Happy journaling.